Happy Halloween, everybody! On this very appropriate video, we will be looking at two characters from the Super 7 original IP, The Worst. These are the Super 7 Ultimates, The Worst Wave 1 figures, Captain Deadstar, Cosmic Ghoul Renegade, and Batula, the Bat Prince of Darkness. These are definitely Rule of Cool figures. These are figures that I picked up for no reason other than they look cool. They are not an IP that I know anything about. They are not characters that I know anything about. But when eCollectibles got these in, I decided, why not? They look really, really fun. The skeleton pirate especially, but the vampire bat as well just drew me in. I mean, these are just really, really fun characters that I'm very, very excited to get out of the box and get on the shelf. Before we do that, let's take a look at the packaging very quickly. So first we will look at Batula. So there we get a nice big portrait. And as I said, Batula, the Bat Prince of Darkness. On the back, we get a nice big The Worst logo. There's a Worst logo on the top as well, and then some random stuff on the bottom. Getting the slip cover off. Now, this slip cover is nice. It's got the red foil at the bottom, but it's like cut really cool as well. Super 7 always does a really good job with the packaging, so these are no exception to that. There he is in the package, with that coffin-shaped cutout for the main figure, and then all the accessories in there as well. And these accessories are a lot of fun. That's, the figures are cool. The accessories are even cooler, so I can't wait to get these out of the box and take a look at those, because it's some of the wildest accessories I've seen in an action figure before. Now, I don't normally look at the bios on the back of the Super 7 Ultimates, but in this case, the bios are pretty fun. It's like I said, because it's a unique IP that I don't really know anything about. It was cool to quickly read these and get a bit of a feel for the characters. They're pretty cool original characters, and I'm liking them. If you want to pause that and read it, feel free. I'm not going to read it, but I will read the line at the bottom here. There are good guys, there are bad guys, then there are the worst. I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, I'm liking the fun of this line. So there is Captain Deadstar, the Cosmic Ghoul Renegade, with his portrait on there with his flaming saber. The Worst on the top, the Worst on the back, and then the random stuff on the bottom as well. Then Captain Deadstar's bio is on the back of his card there as well. And again, just an equally fun bio for this guy, which I'm not going to read, but you can if you want. Anyways, let's get these guys out of the box. All right, so looking at these figures, these sculpts are great. These figures are just a ton of fun. They're fantastic. They do have some issues though. The very first issue with this guy is that he's got loose ankles, so I was having a bit of an issue getting him to stand up. With a stand, he'd be fine, and a little bit of kikis or something like that would get him to stand up just fine. But his ankles are really loose, and so he wants to fall over because his ankles won't hold the pose to have him stand up. And every time I pose him, he kind of leans further forward or further back. He doesn't want to balance on those ankles. But I guess, he's a bat, so he's probably more used to flying anyway. So I suppose that's, not really a relevant issue for him when he's not in action figure form. But he's got this really great wired cape. So this cape is actually quite a bit bigger than I realized, sort of out of the package. There is a whole lot of wired cape going on here, which is pretty fun, pretty cool. Really good head sculpt, a lot of fun, that sort of angry, wide open mouth. The paint apps are really, really good. He's got some blue in his ears, good shading around the eyes. You know, everything's painted inside the mouth and everything too. You got this metallic clasp on the cape as well. The figure itself is pretty straightforward. He's sort of a I don't know if that's some sort of tuxedo, you know, but he's got the bolero and you know, the red vest underneath. He does have the tails as well, which is nice, and these are soft plastic, so they get out of the way. I'm definitely getting the sense that with these figures, they have prioritized sculpt and aesthetic over articulation, because the articulation isn't that great, to be perfectly honest. You get a single jointed elbow that goes about 90 degrees. You get rotation and a hinge at the wrist. But it's also Super 7, right? Super 7 Ultimates tend to go sculpt over articulation, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I think these figures look great, and because it's not really an IP that I'm like playing with these figures, these are definitely going to be display figures primarily anyway. So I'm not really concerned, if I'm being perfectly honest, about how posable they are, how well they're going to hold a pose. I just need them to stand up on the shelf. Now, that being said, I'll just put a flight stand, you know, or just a figure stand under, you know, behind that guy, and won't have an issue at all. I'm going to move him over to this side. I realized the way that I sort of posed that cape, he's not going to stand next to Deadstar very well. Deadstar definitely for me is the more fun of the two figures. But similar thing. He's got sort of a loose waist, which isn't that big of a deal. It's just a rotating waist, but it rotates really easily. So he doesn't, you know, if you turn him the sideways, his body kind of shifts. But that's not the end of the world. I can deal with that. Again, like I said, the sculpting on it is pretty fun. It's pretty basic, admittedly, but the skull is really good. He's got a gold tooth, which has a little bit of a metallic shine to it. That eye patch, you know, he just looks he looks like the scourge of the 7 galaxies, I think is what it says on the back of the box, which I think is, it's just fun, right? These figures are meant to be fun. These figures aren't meant to be, you know, like the best articulation or like the best sculpt or anything like that. These are just fun action figures. He's got his little robotic peg leg, cybernetic peg leg, which is pretty cool. Pretty simple paint apps, pretty simple deco, but altogether a nice figure. Again, we get the wired cape here. So, you know, the wired capes are always fun. Worst case scenario, you know, if you absolutely hate the figure, you still got the wire cape soft goods, which you could do some fun stuff with. So there you go. Those are the figures. Let's take a look at the accessories. If I can stand this guy up. There he is. Starting with Batula, we have a couple of extra head sculpts. Now, I believe they are the same head sculpt, just with different detailing. So we get the Batula with the very, very dark sunglasses. You know, he is a vampire, so if he does want to go out during the day, he's gonna need those big, thick, you know, old person driving glasses, which is a pretty fun look. He's also a vampire, so of course he's gonna have the bloody face look, and that is of course gonna be complemented by his chalice, his golden chalice full of blood. And along with the golden chalice full of blood, of course, you know, on the go, he's going to have his blood flask, which has some nice little detailing on it, too. It's got that little bat, which I don't think is going to show up because it's tiny. But the amount of, you know, detailing and sculpt on here is pretty impressive. It's got a little bit of detailing on the back as well. And then on the top, again, you're definitely not going to get it. It's way too small, but there's like a bat head on the top of the flask. Now, if he's going out and wants to conceal his flask, he does, of course, come with this nice book, which has a little clasp that will open, and you can open that up and pop the little flask in there, and away you go. A little drink on the go. The clasp on mine keeps falling off, but that's okay. Once you get it pegged on, it's not going anywhere. We get a bone A very large bone, admittedly. Like that's you know, a full leg on either of these characters, with a skull on top there as well. And revealed inside is, of course, a sword. So that's, you know, just another really fun accessory. I don't know if there's like a backstory with these characters. Like, I don't know if I don't know much about them. Like I said, these are just cool action figures that I picked up because why not? As far as hands go, you know, these are pretty light for Super 7. These just get, you know, 2 sets of extra hands each. And in the case of Batula, he gets 2 fist hands as well as 2 middle finger hands. Because why not? You know, evidently this guy's got a batitude. He's got a bad attitude. It's a batitude. Then looking at Deadstar's accessories, again, we get 2 extra head sculpts. We get a mouth open eye patch on, as well as a mouth closed eye patch off, which exposes this cybernetic eye with, my camera is not focusing on that. He's got a cybernetic eye with a nice red detail in the center there as well. We get this nice big treasure chest, which is it's a nice size. It's the deco's okay too. There's like a black wash to it, so it looks pretty good, nice and big. So I'm gonna be able to store a lot of these accessories in here, which to me is kind of a bonus because I never know what to do with most of the accessories. Then we get this bird. I think it's meant to be a parrot, but it's a dead parrot, evidently. And we get a wings open. We also get wings closed version. He, of course, has, you know, he shares the deadness of the captain. So he's got X's over where his eyes would be. And no feathers. Like, it looks like that's kind of more of a parrot skull. But I'm not 100% certain on that. Like I said, I don't know anything about, you know, the IP or you know, maybe there's more to this than I know about, and it's just, it's totally lost on me. If you know anything about it, let me know in the comments. Then he gets a bunch of fun accessories. So he gets this very kind of 1960s, 1970s, you know, laser space pistol. He gets the flaming sword that he, of course, had on the box art. That's a nice big old sword. He gets a turkey leg. It's got to be a turkey leg because it's so big. It's way bigger than the parrot. So it's to me, it's got to be a turkey leg, not just chicken or anything like that. Then what else do we have? We have his shit list. And on there, you know, you can see the first few are crossed off. So it's got good guys, saviors, heroes, the living, and your mom down at the bottom of the list. And it's not going to pick it up, which is a shame because it's a fun little list. Then to write his list, he gets a plume, which presumably comes from the parrot. That is definitely an accessory that I can see getting lost sooner rather than later. So is this tiny little skeleton key in a nice sort of antiqued gold with a wash on it as well. Very, very nice. Very nicely done. He gets what appears to be a thermal detonator. This looks very much like the thermal detonator that we saw in Jabba's palace in Star Wars. I don't know, again, if there's more to that, if there's something to the story. And then, you know, what's a pirate without a bottle of booze? So there he gets his bottle of space rum. And then as far as extra hands go, as I said, there are 2 sets. And in the case of Captain Deadstar, we just get some simple fists, as well as these sort of wide open gripping hands. So he comes with the standard gripping hands. They both come with standard gripping hands left and right out of the package. But these are big open gripping hands. These will grip the bottle. These will grip the thermal detonator. These will even grip the list so that, you know, he can continue to cross people off of his list. So it's nice that they included, you know, hands that at first glance I was like, these are weird. I don't know what these are really for. But they've clearly been designed to hold all these things. So that's a nice touch for me. And last but not least, he comes with this treasure map. You know, it looks as though they're sort of starting from this planet here, and then there's sort of a line that goes, you know, X marks the spot up in the top corner there. This is kind of cool. It's just a, you know, thick paper stock. But I like that they included it nonetheless. It's only printed on the one side, which is a shame. I wish, you know, there was at least you know, something going on the other side, because it feels a little bit unfinished. It feels a little bit like an afterthought, something that was sort of a leftover. But nonetheless, you know, that'll be fun. That can go in the treasure chest. Well, I guess that doesn't make sense, does it? You wouldn't have a treasure map in a treasure chest. You would use the treasure map to find the treasure chest, I suppose. But anyway, like a great assortment of accessories, in my opinion, for both figures, right? Like there's a lot of fun stuff going on for both of these guys. And so I'm going to get them sort of geared up, equipped, and sort of in, you know, a combination of some of their accessories, and give my kind of like final thoughts. So here they are, Batula and Captain Deadstar. A couple things, you know, switched up, different head sculpts, some of the accessories in the hands, couple hand swaps. They're a lot of fun. You know, like I said, articulation aside, these are fun figures. They are designed to be that, and they are that. I think these are going to be a lot of fun to do some different things with, as far as, you know, toy pictures and stuff like that. So, you know, if you're at all interested in these, I would recommend them as figures. They're not the best figures, but they're not the worst figures. I grabbed my set from eCollectibles.ca. They are available now from Mike at eCollectibles.ca. Hit them up and grab yourself some of these figures. If you like the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And if you don't want to miss any of these videos, hit that bell icon to get the notifications. Until next time, happy Halloween!